Welcome back to Grit Gym. It's Friday, so I hope you guys are having a good day. Today, we're going to talk about exercise a little bit. When I get into this, we're also going to peel it back to the layers of health. And I'm going to go from health, exercise, nutrition, mindset, recovery. We're mostly going to spend time on exercise over here because I just went through, I kind of call it an audit, but I was kind of bouncing around on other people's, other gyms, social media sites, and different things. And I see pictures every now and then where I'm just like, and anyway, what I saw was a picture of feet put into somebody's back. This person was on their side, the feet were right here, and they were pulling on their shoulder, and the shoulder was internally rotating and going that direction. Now, it took me a little while to believe that that picture was actually doing what I thought it was. That person was pulling on the hand while pushing with the feet on this person's upper back. Now, what you don't realize is at first that might be like, oh yeah, nice stretch for the shoulder. No. That is a dangerous stretch for the shoulder. That's beyond danger. That is causing an injury. Okay? The number one thing that you want to do is to reduce injury. Because this is a controllable space. Behind you is a gym with deadlifts, squat racks, dumbbells, kettlebells, a pulley machine, all kinds of different things that are really much like a chainsaw in the hands of either an expert or in the hands of a 6-year-old. Which one you want to have that chainsaw? You want to give it to the expert, the person who's not going to saw their own leg off, okay, or saw somebody else's leg off because they're going to get away from them. So you have to be very, very, very careful with this stuff. Your body is not this, your body is extremely resilient. And the fitness industry is showing that because it's hurting people and then trying to convince them that pain is weakness leaving the body. No, it's not. It is not pain is weakness leaving the body. Number one thing that you do not do, or that you do, is reduce training-related injuries. If you reduce training-related injuries and you train for your appropriate for your individual body, and you tailor your program to you, then you reduce injuries outside of the gym because you're more likely to hinge correctly, you're more likely to squat correctly, you're more likely to move correctly for your individual body type. So, all right, so if we're looking at exercise, which we need to do, if we're going to look at health, we have to say health is not just exercise. Health comes down to a lot more than just exercise. Health comes down to a lot more than just nutrition, okay? We know that there's mental health, okay? All of us are walking around on the edge of some mental health stuff. We know that recovery is a big thing. We got to get to sleep. We got to have rest between our workouts. We have to have rest between our sets. We have to have a certain amount of rest in order to get the most out of our health. Because health is like it is not like, it is the essence of your life. It's the ability to live what you want to do. Without health, you're not going to be doing anything. You're not going to have energy. You're not going to have vibrancy. You're not going to have happy. You're not going to have any of that. You have to have health. Health is the way that we live our life. It is the essence by which we live our life. Okay? And we have to have maybe not a positive mindset all the time. And you're not always going to be positive. You know, that's not always going to happen. But courage, commitment is going to come into the mindset thing here. We have to recover. We have to have nutrition. We have to have exercise. The thing with exercise, I think that gets really blown out of proportion is that exercise is just moving around a lot. You just got to do a lot of stuff. That everything can be included in exercise. That gardening is exercise. Cycling is exercise. Try to not throw brand names underneath the bus during this video, but it might just pop out because I'm having trouble standing these brand names and these gyms and these corporate monsters that have every ability. They have every ability to use science. They have every ability to get an expert on their staff to actually help them do the things that they need to do, and they refuse to do it. But exercise is not just moving around. Okay? It's not just getting your heart rate to go up. Okay? That might be part of it, but it's not the whole thing. Okay? Exercise necessitates, in the definition, that is an improvement of your health and your fitness. Well, the word fitness has gotten bastardized out of proportion. Fitness means that you're fit to a task. So really, the Tour de France, the guy that wins the Tour de France this year will be just as fit as an NFL lineman. But we don't tend to think of the NFL lineman as being fit. What we do tend to think of the cyclist as being fit. Why? Because the NFL lineman can barely walk across the room without getting out of breath, whereas the Tour de France guy can go miles upon miles on a bike, right? However, neither of them are in extreme health. Neither of those guys. You look at the Tour de France guy, and I guarantee you, they sacrificed health to get to where they are. If you are on any end of a spectrum, Eddie Hall had to sacrifice health to be able to deadlift 500 kilograms. You want to get down to where you're just shredded out, completely veins through your stomach, you are going to have to sacrifice a certain amount of your health to be able to get there. It is not necessarily that you are super healthy. You might be very fit to the task that you have committed to, but you are not in a healthy state. So exercise, the definition of exercise is the improvement of fitness and health. So fit to a task, 1, and then health, 2. All right, so we have to have all of these. Health means no injuries. You can't be healthy. Like you can't be healthy and be injured. Those two don't work together. All right, so we've gotten to the improvement. Now, when we break out exercise, how are we breaking this thing out? Because it's not just about like jumping on a bike and going for long distances, right? Which would be steady state cardio. That would be this one right here. Steady state cardio, using your aerobic system. I mean, a lot of oxygen goes through. Humans are great at this. Dogs are terrible at this. Really, you could run your dog to death on a hot sunny day. Anytime that you're jogging with your dog and you have him on a leash, that is animal abuse and you need to stop. I'm not saying that lightly. You are abusing that animal. That animal's energy systems are not set up like yours. You ran your food to death for tens of thousands of years because sun only hits us from on the top of the head and on the shoulders. Okay, not our vital organs like it would a dog that has a coat that it can't get rid of, so it can't get rid of heat. The way that you get rid of heat, it gets rid of heat by panting. You being able to keep the jogging pace that you do is because the animals that we ran to death could only pant to get rid of heat, whereas the sun doesn't hit us the same and we sweat a ton. The other animals don't. So jogging with your dog is animal abuse. Don't do it. Dogs are meant to go fast, slow, fast, slow, fast, slow. We are not. We are very inefficient at that. And that's why low intensity interval training and high intensity interval training, alactic and glycolytic, work so well for burning fat because we can drive through calories extremely fast, because we're so inefficient at it. When you want to lose a lot of fat, this is unarguable that this, in the exercise world, this is the best way to lose fat. And in the health world, nutrition is the best way. No doubt about it. Nutrition is the absolute best way to burn fat. It is not arguable. However, in the exercise world, this is not arguable. Low intensity and high intensity interval training is the absolute best way to burn fat in the shortest amount of time. Okay? Steady state cardio is not really that great at burning fat because we're so efficient at it that we can just go and go and go and not burn that many calories. Okay, so we have to use all of these. We don't want to just segment ourselves out to the improvement of just steady state cardio. This is a big mistake, a huge mistake. Okay, too many people are going out and jogging 5 miles every night in detriment to their health. Okay, it's a really bad idea. It's a really dumb idea. Too many people are going and they're trying to add in too much strength and power work into their low intensity and high intensity interval training. This is a really bad idea. This idea gets you hurt. Okay? This is why I say that the brand names out there that are trying to do this high intensity interval training thing where you go fast, slow, fast, slow, fast, slow to ramp up your heart rate. The concept is fantastic. The exercise selection is abysmal. It's dangerous and it's terrible. It's absolutely awful. But it's not strength training, okay? This is not strength training right here. Neither is this. And this is the thing. Everybody, people are living in this box right here. And this is not the box that you want to be living in, okay? Where do we start? How do we do this thing? Well, this is the one that everybody's missing out on. This box over here. Strength, power, speed. You have to do that. Most people are pretty well, they understand this. They understand that you need stability and mobility training. Yeah, I don't think they understand it very well because mobility is not flexibility. Mobility is about the integrity of the joint. It's about range of motion with integrity of the joint. So mobility is dependent on stability, so you have to focus on stability first. Even though you never take a stability fix to a mobility problem, you still focus on stability first. I realize that gets a little bit messed up because, what's the definition? Well, stability is about holding the joint in place while it's in motion. Does that make sense? It doesn't have to be in motion, but for the most part, stabilizing a shoulder while it's rotating through that arm action and holding it on that in that joint there. I don't need to get too specific on that. Now, mobility gets way out of whack. Now, stiffness doesn't get its correct. Stiffness is a very good thing. You want stiffness in your body. You want the ability to produce stiffness and the ability to relax out of stiffness. If you didn't have stiffness, your back would hurt real bad right now. It would hurt really, really bad. The people, like we've had a couple people in Grit Gym that are like this, that their body literally cannot produce stiffness. They have a disease, and it cannot produce stiffness, and therefore they just fall apart all the time. It's a very dangerous disease. It leads to a lot of injuries. They have these people usually have, depending on their size, the smaller people usually do better than the bigger people. The bigger people will have back surgeries and knee surgeries and hip surgeries and all sorts of things. So we need stiffness, we need mobility, we need stability. Okay, for certain people, the strength work involved here will suffice them at the beginning. So this is a given, that this is just something that we just have to have. We assume that these are going to be part of our program. What I would like to do, and I think this is how, like, if I could revolutionize the fitness industry, this is what I would do. I would flip these. Okay, everybody's so focused on this because this gives the fastest result, and it does, no doubt about it. But you will get so much more out of this if you delay your gratification out of doing this, and you focus over here. If you focus on this one, if you can delay your gratification from working in here where you know works the fastest, and get everything here, you will get much bigger benefit out of this over here. Okay? This is what I would do to revolutionize the entire fitness industry. Okay? You have to focus on improvement. It's not all about the quick fix. We have to get over here to speed, power, and strength. If you focus on these, especially strength, we always are going to start there. And like I said, sometimes these will suffice your strength, but those are only in very deconditioned people. If you can get your strength, you're putting pressure on your heart, bang, bang, bang. Okay? We are moving fluid. We are getting off the ground, we're moving around, we're gaining strength so that when it's time to be able to get out of breath, you can still hold position and get what you need to out of this with quality movement so that you don't get injured. If you can delay your gratification from trying to hit the quick fix and go to strength, you will get more out of everything else. You have to get strong first. You have to get strong first. It is not an option. And strength is not all created equal. You could say, oh, aren't Olympic lifts strength? No, they're not. They're power. Okay? What about when you're out of breath doing an Olympic lift? That's not strength. That's HIIT. Okay? What about if you're, and besides that, people don't need to be doing Olympic lifts. Just knock it off. You don't need it. It's a completely useless exercise for anybody that's not an Olympic lifter. If you are an Olympic lifter, meaning that you compete in Olympic lifting, you compete in Olympic lifting meets where the snatch, the clean, and the jerk is a part of your competition, then you have to practice the exercise. But otherwise, it's an extremely technical exercise that is unnecessary. You can get the same thing from a deadlift. You can get the same thing from a trap bar jump. You can get the same thing from a front squat. You can get the same thing from an overhead squat. We can get these things in other ways that are better for us, and that's even considering that front squat is appropriate for you, that a jump is appropriate for you, that you have enough strength to actually jump, that your trunk is actually set up into place. And that bar, the Olympic lifting bars, the typical training bars, are 45 pounds. If you can't squat 45 pounds, you got no business doing any of those lifts, right? Right. All right, so speed, power, strength, low intensity interval training. I didn't go through these, but I have another video. So low intensity interval training might be 10 seconds on, 100 seconds off. Or 10 seconds on, 60 seconds off, where you're doing an intense 10 seconds and then giving yourself a break, and you do that over and over and over again. And if you make that 10 seconds as hard as you possibly can, it gets tough real quick. Speed, power, strength are more like, you get like 3 minutes in between, 3 to 5 minutes in between your sets. That's not always the case, but when we do strength, if you are out of breath with speed, power, or strength, you will not get what you want out of it. And this will be, you watch, this will be the thing. And in the next 10 to 20 years, in the next somewhere between 5 and maybe 15 years, maybe 5 and 20 years, something like that, you will see that the biggest difference in the performance world and the fitness industry and everything, they will understand that rest was the key. Right now, everybody's in here. High school, all my high school, all the high school coaches that I have to deal with, they're in there. All the gyms in this town, they're in there, and they can't figure out why they don't even recognize that they have a problem yet, because they don't know how great this is. They don't know how fast their athletes really are because they're too busy wearing them out over here. They don't know how strong the people that they work with actually are, because they're too busy getting them out of breath over here. Right? This is the biggest mistake that everybody is doing in the fitness industry, and there's a lot of really strong people out there that are doing extremely well. There's a guy I went to high school with. He does I can't name the brand name, but he does one of these gyms where it's like this, and I see him post his stuff on Facebook every now and then. I'm like, Steve, that's really good. That's really impressive that you're able to lift that. Now, if he took his efforts from this garbage, and I shouldn't say this garbage, this stuff's really good, from the garbage programming that he's using right now, and he put it into a different system, I think you'd see at least a 30% increase in everything that he's doing within the year. And that is an understatement, for sure. But big thing I want to get across here, health is not just exercise. Exercise is not just moving around a lot. Exercise necessitates improvement, and you have to get very clear with what the improvement is. Okay? If it is taking you away from health, it is no longer an improvement. If it is taking you away from the task that you are fit to, it is no longer improvement. Okay? Fitness is not about being really good at a lot of different things. It's about being great at one thing. And I got asked recently, what do we really specialize in at Grit Gym? And I don't know if I've ever really been able to lock this down. But I think that our assessment process, there is nobody better. I mean, on a world scale, there might be just a few anomalies that are better with certain demographics. But as far as general population goes, this is as good as it gets. And as far as training goes, I'm not going to say that I'm the best coach in the world. But program design-wise, we're right up there, somewhere around there. So what do we really do exceptionally well at? We build programs based on the person's assessment. Okay, their body's needs, their body's goals, and what we found during the assessment. Can they raise their arm up above their head? No problem, no questions asked. Do they have a strong enough rotator cuff? Is their hip stiff, stable, strong? How is their core functioning? Is it coordinated with the rest of their movement? These kind of things. We have to figure these things out so that we can focus on the improvement, so that we know where to start people, and so that we can get everything out of all these. These capitalize on themselves. Okay, some people will only start right here, and that will get them started in the strength game. Some people will start over here, and some people will be able to incorporate a certain amount of this into their routine right away. This is fairly rare, though. Everybody needs to start with strength. It is not acceptable to not start with strength in any capacity. Not ever. Never. You always start with strength. It is not debatable. It is it's beyond arguing with gravity. It's an insanity to think that you could start with anything besides strength. And sometimes your stability and mobility will play into that. Because some people you could have them just show up to the gym, walk across the parking lot, and leave, and they would improve because they haven't done anything in so long. So it's always a part of it. But you have to start with strength. You have to start with strength. Anyway, exercise is not all of health. Health includes mindset, recovery, nutrition. If you want to get better at health, and you want to get better at exercise, you have to focus on the improvement of what you want to do. This is a quick announcement before I hop off. This is the final day to get the $100 off for the nutrition course that Amber's doing. She has Trello boards made up for everybody. She's got an online course. She's got food for every single time that you come in to do the palate expansions. It's not about eating food that tastes like crap. It's about expanding your palate into getting healthy food that can be consumed in a way that's still a fun experience. So you definitely want to show up for that. There's a link around here somewhere, but if you go into the store, it's nutrition course, and if you put in Tribe 18, all caps, TRIBE 18, then you get $100 off, but you have to sign up for that today. Anyway, this is a little presentation on exercise in terms of how it applies to your health and where to start. You always start with strength, not debatable, every time. Anyway, thanks for being here, guys. By the way, I didn't define strength. Strength is moving light weights fast. Okay, so strength is moving heavy weights slow. Power is moving light weights fast. Two very different things. I almost messed that up. But anyway, thanks for being here, guys. This is Friday, so we won't be back until Monday. Hope you have a great weekend, and please like, comment, share below.